Kadosh, Boker Tov, Masechet Ketubot Daf Samech Amud Aleph 65A1. We just mentioned, right, that you're not allowed to give wine to the woman because if she's not living with the husband, so you're not going to give wine to the woman because woman is going to awaken the desire for relations and she's not living with her husband. The Im Tomar, now if you're going to ask me from a pasuk, the pasuk in Hosea says, Ki amra elecha acharei me'avai, notnei lachmi u'memai tzamri u'pishti shami v'kshikuvai, right? Which means over there, it's mashma that a woman does receive shikuvai, which means the mashkim, which is wine. So he says, Vadim she'isha mishtokeket alehen, that's things which women want. What do women want? My new takshitin. Women want takshitin. You have to give them takshitin, right? That's what kavanah mitava. We're not talking about wine. You cannot start giving her wine, right? And by the way, you should know this. If sometimes it happens, a husband is out of town, right, and a woman is going to somebody's house, for Shabbat or whatever it is, it's a problem. Why? Right? Why? The husband's not around. Exactly, but a lot of people don't know that. So I'm telling them, yeah, it's very, very important. Right? She's not allowed to. She's not. The Gemara says she drinks one cup. Two cups. She already said the third cup. She's already tovat tashmi. She starts asking in front of everybody that she wants relations. 100%. How do we know that we don't give wine to a woman? Because it says in the pasuk, it says that Chana got up after she ate in Shiloh and after she drank. Shato velo shatat. Shato means that there was the mashma, the shtiya of other people, but not that she herself drank, right? Because she herself did not drink. Yeah. So here it says actually the milah ochla is the mekor of because of the achol is to eat and the extra is the mapike ochla. So he says mashma that she ate, but not that she drank. Okay. So he comes and he says now elamiata achla velo achal. This is what the same thing other people ate and she didn't eat. Achanami. So he says, we are being doresh for the fact that the Torah changed the lashon. Mifti, we're talking about the sipur of Chana. So therefore, we're talking about nekeva, female. So when it says ochla, it makes sense. So my tamashani. So all of a sudden, why all of a sudden did now we change and we say shato and not shatat? Shmamina shato velo shatat. Meaning, if we're speaking about a female, it says ochla, achlo, right, with the hay at the end. So if it's continuing with a female, we're talking about chana, it should have said shatat, that she drank. Didn't say that. Shato. Shato is they. What's going on here? So he says the fact that it changed, it meant that they drank, she didn't drink, but she didn't drink wine. They drank wine. So meitvei. So ask the Gemara, haregila no tzimna. What are you talking about? Let's say like what Jean Paul was saying before, right? Especially with French women, they were accustomed to drinking wine. They grew up with wine, which means for them, wine is the Coca-Cola. So them, they come, they start drinking wine. It all depends on the countries. You go to some countries, women drinking wine doesn't happen. You're saying, yeah. But some countries, they drink wine all the time. So here it's written, if she's regila to drink wine, yeah, he comes and he says, what? He comes and he says, no, Timna, you do give her to drink. So answers the Gemara, regila shana, you're right. If right now she's regila for wine, okay, so therefore it's not going to cause her to have kalut rosh. Right? Because why? She's accustomed to it. I mean, she's not going to get high on wine. She drinks a cup of wine every single day. It's for her to drink a big deal. So therefore, you can give her wine. Right? Depends on what she's learning of doing or not. Right? The one that she's regila, they give her one kos. Right? Through the shalish. But she'ena regila, notnim la shne kosot. But if she's not regila, you give her 2 cups. John Jack asked, what's going on here? What's going on? My kama, what are you talking about now? So Rabbi said, no, hachi kama. This is what I just told you. This is what I just told you. Regila bifne bala. If she's accustomed in front of her husband, right, to drink shne kosot, that means when her husband's around, she drinks 2 cups of wine. So shelo bifne bala, you can give her 1 cup of wine, but not more. So one more time. If in front of her husband, she drinks 2 cups of wine, so when the husband's not around, you can give her only 1 cup of wine. One second. If she only drinks 1 cup in front of her husband, you don't give her nothing, right? If the husband is not going to be around. If you want, you could answer. Regila, if she's a woman that she's always accustomed to coming and drinking, so notlimla litzike kedera. So then they're going to give her wine for tzike kedera. What does that mean? To taste the kedera, right? That's what they're going to give it to her. right? So he says, that means basically we're saying we're not giving her to the mama's drink. It's just that, we give her just for the tzikeh kedera, to make the food better. Meaning we're not giving her as a drink. We're giving her as a spice, like to add it into the food. So he says, there was a story with the kala, the daughter-in-law of Natimon ben Gurion. They used to give her 2 seahs of wine every single Erev Shabbat. Why? For tzikeh kedera. Amrala, and she said, she said, that's what you have to give to your own daughters, but not to me. Meaning what? That you give to, I'm hierarchy. This is what you're going to give me. So it says, no, but that's what they did. Tana, we learned, shomeret yavam hayta. Velo anu acharei amen. She was a shomeret yavam. And therefore, they didn't answer her amen. Why? Because then it would have been accursed. Because really, be'emet, she had the kavanah to curse them. Because they gave her such a small amount of wine. So be'emet, it was a curse. So therefore, but they didn't want to answer amen, because since she was a shomeret yamam, if they would have answered amen, it would have been ki'ilu that they wanted that their own daughters should become shomeret yavam. So because of that, they didn't answer amen to her curse. Right? They didn't answer amen. Okay? Tana, and this is what we mentioned before. Kol sechad yafeh la'isha. 1 cup of wine is good for a woman. Shnaim, 2 cups of wine is an ivul. Why? Because she starts becoming menuval. She starts becoming disgraced. Shlosha tovat b'peh. If she starts drinking 3 cups of wine, she'll start asking for relations from her husband. Yeah? 4 cups of wine, afilu chamor tovat b'shuk. She'll even take the donkey in the shuk, and she won't be makpidah. Why? Because she's already again, remember, obviously we're talking about in the olden days that the wine was very, very powerful, right? And therefore she could get very high. She get very intoxicated. We're not talking about Muscat or whatever this is, 5.5. It's not proper for a woman to drink wine on Pesach. Lecha techila, women drink grape juice on Pesach. Kach pasak Morel, Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, kach pasak Rav Ovadia Yosef, kach pasak Kula.
Or they could have the what's it called?
Rava. So Rava comes and he says, Lo shanu, what are we talking about? Ela she'em balaima. That's only if the husband's not there. Aval balaima lelambaba. We don't care if now the husband is going to be there. Why? Because you could give her 2 cups, right? Or even if it's going to be, why? Because, at the end of the day, right, so he says that you should never give her 3 cups because she's not supposed to be told to pay. But if you give her 2 cups, okay, so, the husband's there. It's all going to be okay. So says the Gemara, Chana de balai mavai. 1 second, but Chana, the husband was there with her. The husband was there with Chana. So answers the Gemara, she's a guest. The Amar Ravuna, but says Ravuna, when you go to somebody's house, you're not allowed to have relations. How do we know that? Right? They got up in the morning, they bowed before Hashem, they came to their house on Amata, then Elkanah went and he knew his wife Chana. Hashem went and he remembered her, which means she became pregnant, she conceived. So why did they have to wait? Why did they have to wait to go back home to have relations? So the reason why is because you're not allowed to have relations, right, in the guest house, meaning in a house that you're a guest. Why? Because then they're going to see on the sheets or whatever it is, they're going to start saying different things, and it's not good. So therefore, right, it's supposed to be private. So therefore, because of that, that's what's supposed to happen. So says the Gemara, Choma was the wife of, right? Choma, not Kuba, whatever it was. Yeah, Choma was the wife of Abaye. She came in front of Rava. Amrale, and she went and she said, give me mezonot. Pasakla, he gave her mezonot. Right now, this is when she was an almana. Pasokli chamra, give me wine. Amrala, he told her, Yadana ben Achmani, I know Abaye, that he would not drink wine. Amrale, she went and she said, she said, what are you talking about? I used to give him these very, very long cups of wine. What are you talking about? I used to give him very long cups of wine. Yeah? To Abaye. So it says over here like this. When she was coming and she was showing him exactly what was going on, right? All of a sudden, her arm was revealed. There was a light that came into the bedin, right? And all of a sudden, what happened? That means basically she was so beautiful. So what happened? Come Rava got up. He immediately went home. He asked the daughter of Rav Chasta, which is his wife, to have relations. So the daughter of Rav Chasta went instead. What happened now? You come from Bedin and you're coming and you're running to me, right? Yeah. Mamash, what's going on? No, she was the daughter of Rav Chasta. Yeah. Always the. So Amar, he Choma dvitu d'Abaye nafka batra. Choma, the wife of Abaye, right? She was the one. She's the cause. So nafka batra, the wife of Rava, came out after Choma. Machtala bekulfe deshida, and she hit her with a shoe of an ergaz. What is that?
The lock
Lock of a chest. Okay. Man'ul shel ergaz, mamash like that. Mamash, lock of a chest. Ad de apkala mekule mechuza, until she got her out of the city of Mechuza. So Amra la, right? So now the wife of Rava said, Kaltalt lichtlata, you already killed 3 men. Now you want to kill another man. What does that mean? Listen carefully. Chuma was married to 3 different people. The Braita Yevamot already says that a woman that gets married to 3 people, she's a katlanit. So what happened? So therefore she comes and she says, why? She's a chazakah. So according to Rabbi, that he says that it's already enough twice to make a chazakah. So she was only an almanah 2 times. Okay, so she can't get married to the third person. According to Rashbad, it was 3 times she can't get married to the 4th person. So what happened? The Gemara says that Abaye was samach on the shita of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. He got married to Chuma after she already killed 2 husbands. Meaning 2 husbands already died. She got married to Chuma. And then he died. So because of that, the wife of Rava now is coming and she's afraid for her own husband. So she comes to Chuma and she's hitting her and getting her out of the city. She tells her, you already killed 3 men. Now you want to kill a 4th? Kilu, that you're trying to go after my husband? You're trying to kill a 4th man? What are you doing? Yeah? This is basically, she was trying to show her beauty in order that they should jump on her, and therefore that would happen. Okay? Fine. Another story. A very interesting story that just happened. Yeah? Another story. The Vitu de Rav Yosef, the wife of Rav Yosef, right? The son of Rava. Okay? He came in front of Nechemia, the son of Yosef, when she was also an almanah. Amrale, she said, Psok mizori, Pasakla, you give her mezonot. So give me wine. Pasakla, you give her wine. Amarla, he comes to Rabbi Nechemia and says, Yadana be'u b'vnei mechuza. I know that the people of b'nei mechuza, that they're always drinking wine. So since these people are always drinking wine, I'm going to give you wine. Yeah? So the wife of Rabbi Yosef, the son of Rabbi Menashe came in front of Rabbi Yosef when she was an almanah. Amrale, she said, Psok mizori, Pasakla, you gave her. Psok l'chama, give me wine. Pasakla, you gave her. Psok l'shirah, give me clothing of silk clothing. Amarla, he says, why do you need it? Amrale, she said, Lachul chavrach ul chavrutach. So he says, in order that it should be for you, for your kavod, and for all the kavod of your friends, which means that I shouldn't become not mevuzeh from my first kavod, not in front of you or your friends. Right? He comes and he says, because obviously she needed big demeshi in order that people will want to marry her, like very important people.
But she was asking.
So that's why she was asking for like very expensive clothing, so we people like chashuv people will come and get married. Okay. So you have to remember that she gets a bed and she gets a how do you call this? She gets a carpet, a soft one and a hard one. Why does he have to give her this carpets and all? What is going on over here? A bed, you understand? She needs a bed to sleep. But what? Papa says, Mishnah is talking about a place where they used to come and they used to fill up the bed with ropes, right? Which means with chavalim, right? So therefore he comes and he says, but there used to be chavalim. So therefore it's going to be mitzayerota. And it could cause her, so therefore what? If she's going to go directly on the ropes, it's going to cause her to get hurt. So what do they used to do? They used to put soft things on top. Right? In the olden days, you used to have like these strings. It would be like a mizron. So that was like a mizron. Understand? Even in the olden days, they used to have it was made out of metal, but it looked like like these like round things. Yeah. It used to be on the going from one end to the other end. So that's if a person lies down directly on that, it's going to hurt. So what do? You put a mizron. So that's a mizron. Because you don't give her pillows, right? Or things like that, blankets, pillows. You do give. So it says like, what's the case? If she usually gets it, what's the reasoning of Tanakama that you're not going to give it? If she never had pillows, so what's the reason of Natan that you have to give it? So answers the Gemara, it would be normal for him, but not for her. So Tanakama says, Amalah, he could tell her, right? When he's going to go and he's going to leave it in the hands of an intermediary, like a middleman. So therefore, he's going to take all the karim satot. So when he comes back, then he's going to give it to her. No, Amrale, she could tell him, sometimes you're going to come and you're not going to come and you're not going to bring it. So therefore, she always wants that she should have the pillows. And therefore, you're going to take mine, and what? You're going to put me on the floor. So because of that, she always wanted that there should be, right, the karim tzatot and all those things. Then we said notim la kippah. He has to give her a kippah, right, for her head covering. We're going to finish the perek. Hi Tana, this Tana, shliach hartelai v'ram mesane. He says, what is it? Mufshat v'arom. He says, I don't understand. Right? You're going to tell me now that it's going to be that they're going to be without clothing, and then you're going to put on the shoes, right? What? Shoes is more important than clothing? Because we just said over here that they have to give her the shoes, shalosh regalim, and that's more important than clothing. Elmaleh says, Tana bimkom harim kai. We're talking about in a place where mountains. So that they needed 3 pairs of shoes minimum, right? Every single year. So it's coming to teach you that a person should give them during the moed. So we should have simcha. Meaning anyway you're going to buy her shoes. So you might as well buy her shoes during the moed, so that way she gets happy on the moed. Okay, next, kelim 50 zuz. You have to give her kelim clothing al 50 zuz. Amar Rabbi says 50 zuz pshite. We're talking about 50 zuz av pshite, which are zuzeh medina, not zuzim tzurim. Right? There's a difference in the currency. Okay, it's an eighth of it. Right? When we're dealing with of a poor person, when we're talking about somebody that's a nashid, everything according to his money. If you're going to tell me, yeah, you guys listening. If you're going to tell me now, 50 zuz mamash, it's mamash 50 zuz. Ani 50 zuz. How's an ani going to have 50 zuz? You know what it is, 50 zuz? 200 zuz was the ketubah. That means that was a maskoret of a year. You're giving 50 zuz. Yeah, you guys listening? Yeah? You're giving 50 zuz for shoes. You're right. Sorry, for clothing. This is talking about now clothing. So what's going on now? Right? 50 shute zuzeh. So then we said also, you're not going to give her lo chadashim, not new ones and not old ones. Tanarabana, we learned in the Braita, motar mezonot, the extra of the mezonot, la ba'al is going to go to the baal. Motar bla'ot, the extra of the clothing goes to the woman. So it means extra food goes to the husband, right? But the extra clothing goes to her. Motar bla'ot, Elmaleh, why does she need it? But she's going to come and going to get it in order that she shouldn't be mitkaneh bala during the time when she's a nidah, she's going to put it on. That means when she's a ta'ara, she's going to put on the very, very nice clothing, you understand? But she still needs clothing when she's a nidah, so she's going to put on these clothing. Abai says, we know that the leftover of the clothing of the almanah, it goes to the yorshim, to the inheritors. But it's only when she's married, she's not going to be embarrassed in front of her husband. But here, what do they care? So it goes to the inheritors. Right? That's where it's going to go. Next, you're going to give her ma'akesef to her necessities. Then we said that she's going to be eating for Leil Shabbat with her husband. Rav Nachman says ochel mamash. Mamash, she has to eat with him. Rav Rashi amar tashmish. We're talking about tashmish amita, that she has to have relations every Friday night. So now the Gemara is going to explain. Tana ochelet imo Leil Shabbat. That's why it says ochelet. But according to the number tashmish, my ochelet. Why does it say ochelet? And it says the Gemara lishna mali. It's a nicer language to say ochelet. That ochelota, right? He's ochelet ita. Right, instead of ita, it's ota, right? He's saying it's a nicer language because it says over here, because it says in the pasuk in Mishle, this is the way of a woman that she's committing adultery. Achla, she's eating, umachta pepia, and it's in her mouth. And then she says she didn't do anything wrong, which means that ki'ilu, she's coming, right? She's wiping off her erva, and then she says, she's wiping off her private part and saying she didn't do anything wrong. That's what she's doing. So there it's using the lashon of ochel, that she's eating. So meitvei, yeah, it's being recorded. Yes, meitvei. So we're asking, yeah, eventually we're asking the following question, which says, he says, not only is she going to eat with them on Leil Shabbat and Shabbat. I understand it was going to be Achila, so it's going to be also Shabbat during the day. But according to the Tashmish V'Shva, are you going to have relations also during the day? They don't have relations during the day. So the answer is no. You're allowed to have relations if it's a dark room. If it's a dark room, you're allowed to. So therefore, you would have relations also on Friday night and also on Shabbat. Shabbat, it's oneg Shabbat. Yeah, so you have Friday night and also Shabbat. Says the Gemara, what happens if now she's feeding? So Darasha bi'ula Rabba, Apitcha Benisia, Rubula Rabba, Hagadol, was being duresh on the entrance of the Benisia. Even though we just said in Dam Zana Benav Notaka that the person does not have to give his children, right, boys or girls, when they're children, when they're small children, to feed, to eat. Aval Zanktan, but he has to give them very, very small children. He does. At Kama until what age? Ben Shesh, until 6 years old. A 6-year-old will always be Yotze Chova with the Eruv of his mother. How do we know? But since we already learned my time, what's reasoning? Yes, she has to eat with him. So since the child is still eating with the mother, that's why it's still going to be the same. So ask the Gemara, maybe she's sick. And that's why you have to give her more parnasa. You have to give her more food because she's sick. She's feeding her. So says the Gemara, you can't so litni ma'ita chola. Just say that she was chola. Why did you have to say ma'ita menika? Fine. So says the Gemara, maybe that's coming to teach you. The stam menikot cholot mini. That a meneket is considered a chola. Now you understand why menikot and mubarot, why they're usually exempt from fasts and all these things, because they're like stam cholot, right? So that's what the Gemara is actually saying. So Itmar was also saying here, right? She's feeding her child. We give her wine because wine is good for the milk. Meaning for the milk, because her breast milk is good. So therefore you're going to give her wine. Hadran alach, afal pi. And that's where we finish the chapter.